Welcome to our post-week market review. So jumping straight into things here, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to take a path and we're going to mark up from the start of the week till market close on Friday at 10 p.m. GMT. So with all that being said, here is roughly where the market opened. We are marking up the hour one time frame. So this is your hourly time frame that you are seeing in front of you. So what we're going to go ahead and do is mark up roughly what has happened. We don't need to be too accurate. We just need to sort of get most of the main moves that have taken place. So overall, as you can see, gold has been bullish this week. We've seen newer higher highs created with higher lows. We haven't really had any real signs of a bearish flip. Obviously, previous to this, we did see a complete bearish push since this level was tested, and it's the same sort of thing since the recent all-time high. So we haven't actually gone ahead and created or pushed past that previous all-time high. So let's go ahead and focus on this week, as it is a post-week market review. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to look at this. So as you can see, so price ended up pushing up. We tested between this range here that we have marked. Obviously on the lower time frames, we will have different levels marked up. But obviously we're going to mark up our hour just so we can see everything on one screen and go over it together. So again, so we saw a push, we tested at this same sort of level a few times. What we can go ahead and do is we can go ahead and grab a horizontal ray and just sort of mark in this level. I'm going to go ahead and put this in white for you just so it's nice and clear. So you can see that here we tested once at this level as a resistance. We then tested twice, and if you have a look here, this was sort of the indication for a bullish push for us. So we saw this level tested a couple of times. Price then came down to this level of support here, which we saw price test again at a previous times before. So we had that final test and then price pushed up, giving us a break of structure of this previous these previous resistance levels at around 3,245. Price then continued bullish. Price then pushed through and we created another break of structure of this level here. If I was to go back in the chart, you can see that this level is and has been a level that has tested as both a resistance and a support multiple times. So with that being said, that's a psychological key level that we are taking into account. And obviously when we saw price push up to this level, we then was watching to see what happened. As you can see, obviously there would be a little bit more detail on the lower time frames, but as you can see, we ended up pushing through this level and then coming back down to test it as a support. So we sort of had a break and retest pattern. Again, on the lower time frames, you would get a little bit more information and it would be a little bit clearer for you. After we saw that happen, we then saw price push continue to push, creating a new high at this level here. We created a high at around 3,321 ish, that sort of area, and then we sort of saw some consolidation. This was our sort of London session open on the Wednesday, so around the middle of the week is sort of this section here. And what we saw upon the open for the London session on Wednesday is a bearish push. We saw a bearish push, and then we saw the New York session start up, and then we started to see some consolidation, some fighting between the buyers and sellers within the market, and then price ended up continuing on higher, with the next high being this level here at around 3,345. Again, this is throughout Asian session, and as you can see, creeping closer and closer to the London session open. Again, London session open being here, we can then see a bearish push all throughout the New York session and London session. Once New York session came to a close, and we started to see price fizzle out, we saw the volume drop and we saw volatility drop. We started testing this level as sort of a major level of support, close to our point of interest or key level that we have marked in here, the one that we just went over. After price then tested at this level, we crept closer and closer to the London session. Prior to London session open, around 3 to 4 hours before, you can see that we saw this bullish move up. And then throughout London session open, creeping closer and closer to that New York session, we then saw another level that was testing as a higher low, creating another level of support. And then an hour or 2 hours before the New York session opened up, we then saw another bullish push where we saw price then come to test our previous another previous level. Again, a level that has tested as a resistance and a support multiple times. So that is what these levels are in front of you. They are levels of interest. They are points of interest, POIs, levels in which price has tested as both a support and a resistance. So again, with all that being said, we are now testing at around this level. So what could we expect for gold as of right now? So if you bear with me, I'm just going to go ahead and delete most of these drawings just so it's not too there's not too much going on. So with that being said, let's go ahead and just sort of go over right now what we're seeing. So obviously you're seeing some sort of top found at this area here. I can delete this level now as well, and we can delete the path. So we're seeing some sort of top level found here, where price is testing as a resistance. It still indicates to us that this level of this key level, this point of interest, is still a significant level that we want to take into account. As of right now, obviously the market is closed, and the final push up to this level and then up until market close was sort of low volume, low volatility, and just testing as a resistance at around this area. Going to our minute 15, you can see the same sort of thing. However, there is still signs of a bullish push. If you look at this candle specifically, you can see that we had a big bullish candlestick closing at a new high. Then we had a double top, and then price sort of after that has continued to drop slightly as volume has fallen off. But as you can see, if I go ahead and grab the brush again, you can see that there are a couple points where we're seeing this price, this level be tested as a support. So going into next week, what could we expect? So if this momentum continues, and obviously as long as economically everything is going positive for gold, we will most likely see a continuation of this bullish momentum. So we are expecting price to hit anywhere around this sort of level, as that is our next point of interest. Obviously, that will be our next highest point of interest. And if we do see that level broken through, it will be that previous almost all-time high. And then again, if it continues even further, we will go ahead and touch that new all-time high. So let's go ahead and just go over a couple more things real quick. So obviously we are testing at this level as a support on the lower time frames, going back down to our hour. Then as you can see, we have some sort of consolidation here, but as this is mostly the case on a Friday anyway, where market is creeping closer and closer to that closing time at 10 p.m. GMT on Friday, you will always see volume drop, and you will see a significant change in the market's price action. So the most probable move as of right now will be a bullish one, taking price up to our next point of interest. However, it is going to be this main level at around 3,355 that us as traders are looking at as of right now. If we were to see price continue bearish upon market open, we could in fact see a complete bearish drop, with price then starting to consolidate between these two levels and creating a consolidating range between 3,355 and around 3,270. Again, it is a range that has been tested before. If you have a look, it has been tested multiple times as a consolidating range, and then obviously we wait for that break on either the top side or the bottom side. So that is something that we could expect if we see this level of if we see this key level disrespected, and price then breaks through this level, which should hold price as support. We most likely will see a consolidating move take place, at least for the start of the week. As it goes for bullish scenario, what we're looking for, again, if I go all the way down to our minute 5 real quick, if you can see, we are testing at around this level as a support. So if I just sort of grabbed a box here and just roughly drew in, you can see that price is testing at this level continuously. However, we did finish in a bearish fashion before market closed, but it doesn't really mean anything as the market is closing. People are getting out of orders, and yeah, so there's basically the two scenarios that we're going to expect. So we're looking at, again, this main level, which is 3,355. If price then breaks this level and fails to hold price up as a support, we're looking for a bearish move. And if price then holds at this level and respects it, we are looking for a push. And then we will be looking at our next level, like we just spoke about. If we go to our hour 1, we're looking for this level to be hit. So that's going to be our post-market review. In conclusion, obviously gold has been extremely bullish this week, which is very, very nice. whenever price goes up, it will go down, and vice versa. So we are definitely going to be keeping our eye out for any bearish opportunities next week. But let's let the first few hours of the market play out at Sunday 10 p.m. GMT. We will most likely be waiting for the London session to let the real volume and the real volatility kick in, and then base our trades and overall bias from there. So again, that's going to be our post-week market review for gold funding. I hope you have all enjoyed, and I will catch you in the next one.